Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have another multiplayer Commander gameplay for you. I know a few people have been asking. I wanted to make sure I get everyone's wants addressed in at least some way. I'm playing as Azami, Lady of Scrolls, which seems to be my multiplayer deck of choice for the time being. I'm playing against Kambal, Console of Allocation, whenever I'm going to cast a non-creature spell that they lose to and you gain to. So I very much do not like that. Talrand, Sky Summoner, which is typically an instant and sorcery cycling style deck that creates a lot of 2/2s that fly and deal damage. Usually it plays a much higher density of counter spells, so I have to be aware of force spikes and similar shenanigans. And then Karador, Ghost Chieftain, has a nice foil version. Typically the best Karador list right now is Stax Boonweaver combo. But I believe this deck takes a different route, as you'll see for the game. I'm going to pop the grave. No, I'll leave the commanders up so you guys can see them and keep track of what's what. I'm playing as Pharmacist, playing the Karador, Tovakin, playing Talrand, and Blake Ice 54, playing the Kambal. I have a very serviceable hand. I have lands and spells. I have a needle in case anyone gets something overly good early, so I'm going to keep it. And just a good luck, have fun. Westville Abbey and the F8. Steel Sabotage. Have that for an early ring. Gonna go with another land. Evolutionary Leap. Well, I can needle that. That's a pretty good spell. I have no cause to spell pierce that. 3 mana into Kambal. Alright, well, second spell of the game. So I'm gonna take 2 in my face and play the Sapphire Medallion that I just top decked. Pretty useful top deck there. It's almost like drawing a land. Pretty useful. Sin Collector, and I ask in chat who's he going to target, and he doesn't respond, but I just say, alright, fine. And he targets Toverkin, and I start making the case that, like, at least I'm using cards. Like, my opponents know I have less cards in hand than Toverkin, and Toverkin's just been doing lands and nothing. Like, you guys gotta be careful, because if you don't pay attention to Talrand, all of a sudden Talrand's gonna come down and play a series of 4 or 5 spells, and then you're taking 10 in the air out of nowhere. So I'm trying to make that case here. Sin Collector reveals the hand, actually, which is pretty nice. Twisted Image, amazingly good card against Azami, who's an 0-2. But I don't think that matters to this player. Oh, that's because Kambal's in play. So they take the fact or fiction here. I see land, peer, telling time, and think twice. Let me pop up the revealed so we can keep that list going. And the exiled, definitely the fact or fiction, which I'm glad that they did. I didn't say anything in chat, but I think that's definitely the correct decision there. Because it says filter the top 5 at the very least and get at least minimum one of them. Pick up Temporal Manipulation that I can't cast, and this is where I start hitting land drop issues. We'll see if I can get past them somehow. Right now I'm planning to use Dismiss to just try on anything decent to just try to draw myself out of this issue. Karador goes with Vampiric Tutor. Honestly, Tutor scares me. This is on my end step. But I'd rather I'd rather them spend the 2 life, lose the 2 life, and their draw step getting whatever terrifying card it is, that I can then counter if it's that bad of a card for me. I'm also afraid of Tovakin having mana drain and trying to get and hoping to get a better mana drain target than Sin Collector. But there's always a chance that Tovakin left up mana drain because Blake Ice is immediately to their left and didn't want to go shields down. And I'm afraid of mana drain into Talrand at this point. So I'm going to let the Vampiric Tutor go. Untap, plays Urborg. I gotta assume that's the tutor target because they maybe were short on black. And goes to Loxodon Hierarch. And this is where I first determined that I'm not going to take Karador very seriously this game, is playing something like this. Well, yes, it's good, gain some life, regenerate your field. It shouldn't be in a tuned Karador list. If you want to play Karador, play it however you want, but this will not be in a 100% list. So I'm not afraid of that in the slightest. It is a 4/4 that will hit people, and it also, hey, it blocks these guys. So I can't totally fault it. Sol Ring. Alright, well, I let this go, but Blake Ice is the last player before. I could just steal Sabotage this, but I really want to draw lands, so I'm going to dismiss this instead. And this way, because of the positioning for the seeding, if Tovakin has Mana Drain, I will at least get to untap before Mana Drain gives him mana on his turn. And then I can try to respond to whatever he uses the drain mana to get, if he has it. Also, Mana Drain would mean allowing a Soul Ring to resolve on an opponent's side of the board, which I don't think any control player wants to see happen. I pick up the island, thankfully. I do take 2 damage from Kambal, and I take beats to the face because of it. So I take 6 this turn. Gotta hurt. But I mean, the Karador player has made it clear that he's not going to be proactive. His hand was almost entirely just the cycling cards with no interaction, and he didn't play Talrand this turn, assumedly because I probably had mana open. But you're not sitting on counterspells anyway. Like, run Talrand out, make me use a counterspell, which I most certainly would have. Soul Ring would have resolved. But it's this turn that really throws me for a loop why he doesn't. So I go with Sower here. I go down to a single blue. And I'm getting Sower because I can't let Kambal sit over there. I want to try to draw out removal or at least gain some life back and give myself a little bit of a padding for when Kambal ultimately leaves my board. Meren of Clan Neltoth. Well, that is a good spell that I can't do anything about. Thankfully, it is very bad at this point in the game because he doesn't have a second green mana to sacrifice this Hierarch to Evolutionary Leap and then immediately get it back and start getting experience with Meren. Does that hit? Yeah, that hits me for 4 again. Alright, yeah, I get that I'm one of the 2 mono blue players, but I'm the person who is actually trying to do something and interact with the game, while this player is just being allowed to draw and make land drops consistently, and that's not what you want to do with control players. Like, if you ignore my Azami deck and just let me draw and make land drops because I'm not doing anything impactful on the board, you're going to be in bad shape just because of how many cards I've gotten to draw unopposed pressure. So Tovakin's at 40. Blake Ice is at 46, and we were talking about how good Kambal is, about how much life it gains Blake Ice over the course of the game. He said he usually gets about to 50, 56 with it. So that's 16 life that Kambal can gain Blake Ice over the course of the game, and Pharmacist doesn't want to go at him, despite me going down to 28 from that attack. I don't know if it's the correct or incorrect decision. Very exciting turn from Tovakin, land pass again, so that's all we know about. And this was definitely a turn to put Talrand into play. Like, I'm tapped out, play Talrand. You have at least one spell that I know you can play with Talrand out, so you can cycle a card, get a 2/2, even if Talrand's going to die to some removal. But everyone's focusing on me right now. Now's the time to try to push the boundaries a little bit, because if they continue to focus on me despite you playing Talrand, you are in fantastic shape. Also, you want to try to start cycling these cards, and if Talrand lives, you're in great shape to cycle through all of these. So, they go with Banisher Priest targeting my Sower. That's fine. So Kambal goes back to the owner's side, tapped at least, and doesn't attack. And I've got to assume this was a misclick. I'm playing politics very heavily in chat this game, so it's possible that's why. Pick up Void Mage. Despite knowing, ooh, crap, just jumped a lot of turns. Sorry about that. Despite knowing about the Twisted Image, I make the gamble that Tovakin doesn't realize that Twisted Image is a kill spell against Azami. I want Tovakin to just think that Twisted Image is just a cycler. So I'm going to play Azami out. Sower is weird sitting here, but I don't know, maybe they see it here and it's discouraging them from attacking me for some reason. So I run the Azami out just to cycler. Westvale Abbey makes it 1/1, and then F8 again. And at this point in the game, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be leaving Westvale Abbey up, using it at the end of Tovakin's turn. Make us think you have a kill spell. Make us think you have Utter End. Something. Vamp Tutor. But you've just told me you have no interaction, and I can totally ignore you until your turn again. I pick up Forbid, which is pretty useful in the zombie deck, and I picked up the Fabricate as well. I'm going to go with Void Mage because it puts my Devotion of 5, and it makes Nykthos tap for quite a bit more. So it was a mana neutral play effectively. I paid 2 mana, but Nykthos produces 2 more mana now. I'm going to draw the card, hit the land that I needed to hit. I realized I tapped my 2 power 1 instead of my 0 power 1, so I might as well just tap Azami now, see if I get something else. Pick up the Miscalc, make some more mana, and I go for the Temporal Manipulation for the cost of 2 life here. I have Spell Pierce and Miscalc up, or I have Forbid with buyback or Spell Crumple if they try to counter. They just let it go though, and tells me that Tovakin hasn't drawn much at all, and it turns out that Tovakin has drawn lands. I get another land, and this is really why extra turning spells are amazing in Azami. I've unfortunately stupidly played that land instead of playing the Riptide Laboratory that I drew, which would have been useful to protect Azami from Twisted Image, should Tovakin find out that he could have Twisted Image Azami. I'm going to Fabricate for the cost of 2 life, and get Shackles, because I need to get Kambal back to my side of the board. I'm going to leave it up though. Reclamation Sage. Well, I have a feeling that's going to target my Shackles, considering there's nothing else anywhere else on the opponent's board that wants to be targeted. So I'm going to Spell Crumple the Reclamation Sage, because Meren would actually just put it back in his hand, and I just want it gone for good. So Spell Crumple proves a little bit of usefulness here with Meren of Clynel Toth sitting in play. And Pharmacist, I think, just goes to combat, smacks me, and I'm down to 17 after this attack. I can understand not going at Blake, but, I mean, Tovakin's about to have Cyclonic Rift mana also. And maybe it's correct, maybe it's not, but letting a control player have no pressure on them 6 turns in a row, or going into turn 8, they're turn 8 at this point. Maybe they clicked through a land drop at some point. I gotta assume leaving a control player for 8 turns unmolested is a bad decision. And I mean, they've been doing a very good job of pressuring me, but they don't seem to realize that there's 2 control players at the table, or 2 mono blue control players. And once again, makes a 1/1 on his own turn, which I still think is very incorrect. And then taps out at F8s. So I'm going to Shackles the Kambal pre-combat, and this was a mistake on my opinion potentially. I could have shackled Banisher Priest, so then if Kambal attacked me, I would get back Sower, and then Sower the Kambal, and I would also have Sower to start tapping, but honestly, I just wanted to get Kambal off their board, so I maybe got a little bit of tunnel vision trying to remove this, but it's what I need. So I play the Riptide. Finally, I'm going to Pithing Needle the Evolutionary Leap that I could have done a while ago, but I really didn't want to lose life to Kambal. He hasn't used it at all yet, if you'll notice. Oh no, he's used it once. My apologies. Did he use it once? Yeah, I jumped through that on that turn. He hit Tempting Worm off the Evolutionary Leap, and this is what just told me he is not a good. It's not a good deck. Like. Why would you play this 5/5 unless you're playing a group hug style deck? So we know about Tempting Worm in his hand, so this deck is not scary at all. He's also been stalled on mana. He only has a single green. He must have tutored for Orborg, so he could have multiple black, but he is not in any position to be a threat this game at all. So I crash him with Kambal, incorrectly, but I hit Tovakin, sort of like I want to demonstrate to the other players, like, hey, look, there's this life total of 40 over here that everyone is just ignoring. I should have kept Kambal up to block, because I really don't want to block with my wizards. So a little bit of a mistake, but uh, it sort of points out that there's another life total going on, and it's showing. I'm concerned about Tovikin. I'm not concerned about Pharmacist. I'm not concerned about Blake Ice's board. Like, I could run Kambal into this board and tell him to chump or trade off if he wants to get Kambal back. Like, you could trade Cleric, Sin Collector, get Kambal. But I'm trying to show the point I don't care. Even though I do care about Blake Ice's board somewhat and the state that he is, because he's been F8ing, I don't mind it as much. I'm more worried about Westvale. Oh, that's what I named with Pithing Needle. I named Westvale Abbey. I'm sorry, I don't know why I was talking about Leap. I don't want Ormondal to come down before I have 9 islands in play. So I needled that, so it stops his 1/1s. But I want to show that, hey, there's a 38 life total here that nobody's hitting. Gets the Bird's Paradise. That'll help with that green mana issue. And Meren still hits me. Well, I guess. I've done nothing to molest Pharmacist the entire game, I believe. I don't think I've countered a single thing they've done, but still goes at me. That's the breaks of playing control in multiplayer. People don't like the control player. Well, I'm not playing it to make friends. Trovikin makes another land drop. Taps Westvale Abbey for black. Makes a mana, and Killing Wave for 8. I actually get to gain some life off Kambal, which is pretty nice. Feels good, gotta say. So Killing Wave 8, I would not like to use that. And feels bad. They comment in chat, feels bad to get that miscalced. And they talk about, well, maybe you could have played, for 6 or 5 to play around like miscalc mana leak, like the drain spells. Honestly, then I just pay a second blue and miscalc and spell pierce. I'm okay at using card disadvantage here to stop spells because Azami is card advantage. I can trade 2 for 1 because I will draw 2 cards to replace that, meaning I only lose 1 card. Or my opponent loses 1 card, I lost 0. I had a gain of 0 that round, but I lost 0. Miscalc talks about how it could have paid for 6. Wouldn't have mattered, honestly. And crashes into me because I stopped their Killing Wave. How mean of me. So I'm going to click in response, and I'm going to click Tovikin. Like, I'm still trying to send these signals out into the game that this player is a threat. They have 8 mana, 6 cards in hand. No one's done anything to them except for me and the Sin Collector the entire game. Also, there's still Twisted Image, and I make a little bit of a bait play here. So I see land, and the same 4 spells that we saw before, and I decide to just let him go. I really don't want to help cycle this Twisted Image for no mana. They haven't realized yet that it kills Azami, so I don't think they're going to realize it. And honestly, I don't care about 4 cyclers. Like, I really couldn't care less about this hand. I just want to make sure that we're not walking into a Cyclonic Rift, and should I keep mana open to counter specifically Cyclonic Rift if they tap out for it on the end of Pharmacist's turn or something. So I let the hand go. I get the 3/1. So I'm blocking Sin Collector here to get Sin Collector off the board. And I go with Sin Collector because even if they Twisted Image the click, I can, it still kills the Sin Collector, fortunately. And I would rather take 2 power off the board than 1. I'm going to draw in response, though, of course. Pick up Syncopate, draw. The Azami's just jumping a 1/1 because they bounce off each other. Pick up another card. Get Muddle. Well, Muddle is definitely where I want to be. And this is why, this past turn they didn't actually tap out and F8. But a Muddle is the reason you do not, the card I'm getting, Winter Orb, that beautiful, beautiful artifact, is the reason you don't tap out an F8 in EDH, in my opinion. And you shouldn't do it. Like, just F6 your opponent's turn. It's 1 key. I have my F6 bound to my mouse. I don't even have to use my left hand for it. And in the face of Winter Orb, Blake Ice concedes, realizing that he's tapped out, and there's no coming back from that point. So suddenly my job is a lot easier. I lose the Kambal, but I don't have that pressure on me anymore. And interestingly, Sower of Temptation, doesn't come back to me right away, but it does come back during my end step. Or, sorry, during my the next phase, I guess. So I'm going to take Meren here. I realized that I could take Bird's Paradise and cut them off the green that they've been trying to get. But I really want to take Meren here because what I see Meren doing is A, gets back my click, which I can cast. I'm sorry, click. And B, it allows me to use Void Mage Prodigy to counter a spell, get an experience, and get Void Mage Prodigy back. The second time I use Void Mage Prodigy, Meren will start returning Void Mage Prodigy during end steps, and I have a counter per round for 2 mana with a Winter Orb in play, and I'm drawing plenty of cards. So with Meren, get back my click, and ship the turn back. So they have the extra green, they go with Demonic Tutor. Now, I make a little bit of blunder here, but it actually works out for me. So I see 2 lands open. I forget that they have the birds here. So I go with Syncopate for 3. Now notice I have 3 mana tapped. Sapphire Medallion adds 1 to it. So blue 2, 1, blue 3. And I Syncopate the Demonic Tutor for 3, forcing a tap out. Now it's a good play because it means with the exception of free spells or lands, which they could DT for, whatever they get is not going to come down this turn. It also forces them to tap out underneath Winter Orb, and maybe I'll go with that explanation, say I next leveled them, but it forces the tap out, we'll say, is why I do it. Now, I wouldn't fault them for getting Snuff Out and trying to kill my Sower of Temptation immediately, which would be a free spell. Unfortunately, I would have the Spell Pierce for it. So I draw first. I see Venser, draw Strip Mine, because I'm not worried about any creatures coming down with haste from the blue deck. Draw Ponder, nothing's attacking me, and then I Syncopate 3. They pay for the Syncopate, that's fine. They get to DT, but after that they have to ship the turn. Tovakin just concedes, complaining that he's drawn 8 lands in a row. Honestly, I really don't have that much sympathy for you. Like, in my opinion, at that point, you should have, like on, what was it, turn 6 that I played my Azami, I believe. Turn 6, when I tapped out for Azami and drew a card, you should have played Talrand, and then immediately killed Azami. To prevent my draw yourself a card, get yourself a Drake, and resolve Talrand. Like, you had that opportunity over the course of the entire game, and you didn't take it, just because of XYZ. And then once I get Orb in play, that does end the game. I'm going to Talrand the Orb back to my hand, and I believe they concede at that point. Yep. So that is the end of the game against Karador, Talrand, and Kambal. And I comment in chat, and I talked to Pharmacist a little bit, who said he enjoyed the game. I'm guessing Tovakin did not enjoy it, drawing that many lands. But honestly, you have the Cyclers in your hand. Use them to get through your deck after you put Talrand in play. You got no sympathy if you don't even play the card that your deck is designed to work around. So I Venser the Orb, and I mention I'm going to Strip Mine whatever land he untaps. I reveal the hand at that point. And the reason I go with Vensered Orb instead of Steel Sabotage Orb is mostly because Venser costs the most mana. I want to redeploy Winter Orb using as little mana as possible after I untap, and then only have to have 1 mana open to buy myself another full untap. Also, Venser draws me a card during end step, because Azami is in play. It attacks if I want to. So it just puts me in a better position than using Steel Sabotage. Honestly, I have the counter magic, and I have Forbid at this point. I have Forbid with buyback. I have at least 1 full untap. I have draw several per turn. There's no way Pharmacist is getting out from under this, especially with Forbid only needing me to counter something once a turn, maybe. And if it's once every other turn, it's mana neutral and a card advantage still, because I'm drawing more than that. Even if I'm only attacking with Meren, it just puts me in such a good position once I get this Forbid lock established that the game's going to be over, especially against 1 player. Hope you guys enjoy the multiplayer gameplay. I know this is a bit of a longer video. I hope the audio issues are resolved now. let me know in the comments down below if you want to see more of the Azami deck. I'm trying to work on getting all of my deck lists written up on tappedout. Keep an eye for that. I'll probably go back and edit some of my videos to include up-to-date deck lists in the descriptions down below. So look forward to that, and get on my case if you don't see it happening too soon, because I'm slowly working on it. I got other priorities on my plate right now, so it's when I have the chance. Alright, I hope to see you all in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video to anyone you think might enjoy it, and I'll see you all in the next one.